Tapos yan niluluto ko Paborito ko yan.
Sa World Remit, naiintindihan namin ang iyong paglalakbay. Na minsan, kailangan lumayo upang makamit ang tagumpay. With ways to save more, when you send more, World Remit is here for you, so you can be there for them.
Okay, happy Tuesday ho. Nako, happy Tuesday ho sa inyong lahat at happy month of love, no? First day ho ngayon, February 1st, 2022. Pagka 22 ho, teka muna. Maganda abangan natin yung date ng 22, no? Dahil 22/02/22. Dahil baliktad ho rito ang aming pagsulat ng araw baliktad na una yung araw, buwan tapos taon, no? Hindi kamukha sa Amerika at sa Pilipinas na una yung buwan, araw at saka taon. Anyway, good evening ho sa ating mga kababayan sa apat na sulok ho ng United Kingdom. Magandang gabi ho sa inyo. Welcome ho sa ating program. Happy Tuesday ho sa inyong lahat. Ako po si SONNY LARAGAN. At sa ating mga kababayan sa apat na sulok ho ng Europa, syempre, good evening and welcome to the program. At hindi lamang ho sa buong Europa, kundi sa buong mundo ho, pinapanood din ho tayo ng ating mga kababayan, no? So welcome na ho kayo, tuloy ho kayo kabayan. Okay, tonight it's another night of yung ating legal advice corner. Siyempre kasama natin yung beauty and brains natin and athletic, no? Kompleto, hindi lang brains, beauty, pati athletic. Athletic po physically fit, mentally fit, lahat, no? Kompleto na ho. Mga kaibigan, yung ating, siyempre, co-host natin and the star of the show, dahil wala naman akong alam talaga sa mga batas dito sa United Kingdom, siyempre, yung ating managing partner ho ng Deo Volento Solicitors, walang iba kundi si Attorney DANNA Quinto. Attorney, happy Tuesday and happy 1st of February.
Happy Tuesday, Mr. Laragan. Magandang gabi sa lahat ng taga-subaybay. It's lovely Tuesday evening, 13 degrees Celsius, magmula sa 2 degrees Celsius nung weekend, lamig-lamig nung isang araw na medyo na ngayon, better na ngayong February 1, ika nga, time flies so quickly. So, welcome back. Nasa second month of the year na tayo. Love month. Kong Hei Fat Choi pala. Yesterday, was it yesterday or today? Na Chinese New Year as well.
Okay. Yes. So, Chinese New Year. Ano year ba ngayon? Ano ba yung kay
Tiger.
Marites? Tiger. Oo nga. Merong word pa bago the Tiger. May mga usually mga ano yan Kunyari, meron silang mga di ba? May word pa before the Tiger. Kunyari, but anyway, alamin natin yan. Hindi masyadong yung ating kumare, very busy yan. Pagka gantong time of the year, lumalagari yan. Nagbibigay ng mga talks. Well, we're referring to Marites Allen.
Marites Allen.
Oo, Miss Marites Allen, yung ating feng shui celebrity expert. Ayan, oo. Kumusta na kaya yung ating kumare, no?
Ay, that's Kong Hei Fat Choi. Tama ba yun? Tama ba yung greetings ko sa Happy New Year?
Yata. Kong Hei Fat Choi, oo. Pero meron pa isang binabanggit sila well, good evening sa iyo. Magandang gabi sa iyo, attorney, no? Kumusta, how was your weekend? Mukhang tuloy-tuloy ba yung ating ano ba ta?
Medyo puro very active because all of us here at TV, parang lahat kami nasa health kick, kumbaga. Everyone's going to the gym or doing some sort of activity. I ran, and that's the reason why alam ko yung temperatura nung weekend, napakalamig nung tumakbo ako. Lamig na lamig ako.
Ano oras yan?
It was a good run. It was a good run.
What
It's
time was
2
it?
degrees Celsius. 8:30. Quite
In the
early.
morning, 8:30.
8:30
Okay,
in the
okay,
morning.
okay,
Yeah, that's
okay.
8:30 in the morning. May frost
Wow.
pa. As you can see,
Ooh.
may frost
Oo.
sa Bedford. So that was very, but masarap pa masarap tumakbo ng ganyang oras at ganyan yung araw. It was very nice.
Blue skies, huh?
So yeah,
Blue skies. Huh? I think
blue
it was
skies
sunny.
for
Was it sunny? What day was it? Blue skies. Eh?
Sunday morning.
Sunday. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Okay. Sunday mo.
Absolutely.
Blue skies. Bibira. Parang sa Spain lang
Yeah.
nakikita ko ganyan, blue skies. Eh.
Malamig, sobrang lamig, 2 degrees Celsius. So it was very
Oh,
cold.
was it yesterday or the other day? Yung paghumangin, ang lamig. Eh. Sunday was sunny. Okay, fine. We went to Ashford, no? Ashford, ano pangalan nito? Yung designer outlet, no? So, yun ang ginawa lang namin, activity namin last Sunday. So, ikaw, you were running. While you were running, masyado ka maaga, 8:30. Maaga. When you run, how long would you run?
An hour, normally
an
an hour
hour.
and a half.
An hour?
Pero may mga stop yan, the picture, or you'll just take in the surroundings. So I run, and then I walk a little bit pag medyo inaaspa na ako, or take a photo kung gusto ko yung view, or I
Okay.
ran towards, I was running over, hindi yung lake na nakita nyo po, but
Yes, hindi
somewhere
ron.
a bit further. And there was a sort of a hidden mini lake. So tuwang-tuwa ako doon. Doon ako, natuwa talaga ako. Ang ganda. So it's more of a little adventure rather than getting out and about rather than just running all throughout. So very good, very very good.
Very good. Very good, huh?
And so patuloy yan nung Monday, yung workmate ko, we were looking to
Ito
start
Monday. Oo.
our little tradition. Nasa office kami,
Okay.
and we were doing I think yung sa mga nag-gym, alam niyo po to, yung legs, bumps and thumbs na class. So it's pretty much
Ano yan?
those
Legs, bumps,
exercises,
and hindi ko alam yan. Legs,
and
bumps,
thumbs.
and
And
thumbs.
thumbs.
Tummies. No, sa
Yeah,
tummy.
legs,
Legs,
bumps,
bumps,
and
and tummies. Ano
and
ibig sabihin nun?
thumbs,
Mga exercises for
Yeah,
directed
for
towards the
those
legs,
parts.
the bumps, and the tummy?
Yeah, exactly.
Ah,
It's a
okay.
well-known exercise for gym goers. So fitness instructor yung si Lauren, colleague namin,
Okay.
very, very good. Used to be a fitness instructor. So she offered to give us ladies a lesson, and dyan yung remotely yung isa umattend.
Oh.
So we got a few more people. So it's the same way we're promoting
Galing,
this. Hindi lang kami, we're promoting yung sabi hashtag legally fit na, but it's good. You get healthy colleagues, healthy firm, healthy staff. Everyone's happier at mataas yung energy kasi may dopamine, and you get to it's almost
Wow.
like a version of play. It's a version of releasing stress after a long day. Monday, releasing stress.
Oh, okay.
Masakit
Gaano katagal?
yung-
How long is it? How
I
long?
feel very sore today, so talagang may
Okay. Sore saan? Saan sore sa legs?
thighs mostly.
You were doing squats.
Yeah, we were doing lots of versions of squats.
Lunges?
Yeah,
Were you
and
doing lunges?
lunges
Squats?
as well,
Okay,
squats.
naman pala. Naku,
yeah.
kailangan you have to prepare your legs before you do that. No? So you would do some sort of a warm up muna. Ano mga warming
Yeah,
up?
we have a little bit of warm up, and then
okay.
and then a full class, 45 minutes, a proper class. So
Proper
yeah,
class.
proper class, 45 minutes. You normally ganyan yung
Oh.
class sa gym 45 minutes.
Wow, ang galing eh. Okay. Maganda. Maganda yan, no? May mga lalaki ba? Puro babae lang yan.
Kami lang kasi
Kayo lang.
kami lang para I mean they're welcome to do their own thing as well. Sabi namin kung gusto niyo but they let us carry on para komportable lahat. So not that
Galing. Legs, bums, and thumbs. Tummies, bumps, and
Legs,
okay.
yeah.
So yung tummy nyo, ano yung mga sit-ups? Ano ginagawa nyo?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Alright, good, good. For 45 minutes, ha? Wala kayong dancing, basta puro exercise lang. Walang
No,
ganyan.
no, no, walang dancing. It's not about dancing.
For
It's
puro exercise. Good, good.
yeah, it's
Oh,
all
okay.
about body weight exercises. We call it body weight because you're not doing any other weights
Oo, walang
up. You're
weights,
just
walang lahat, no? Puro body weight lang,
using
no?
your body. Enough na. It's been very, very good, very effective in my opinion. So yeah, share
Galing.
lang namin. Ganun
Galing.
yung ano namin ngayon. Kanya
Wow.
nag-pursige kaming sariling sikap na magkaroon ng sarili naming class at gym session. And it was such a good thing on a Monday, no? Eh, minsan kasi parang ayaw mo pumunta ng gym kasi pupunta ka pa doon. Eh di, dalhin natin yung gym dito straight after work. 6:00, tapos na kami lahat. We can go home and have dinner. So, very good. Very, very good.
Wow, hindi galing. So it's only on a Monday? Or do you do it on a Monday now? Are you planning on doing it
Baka
Monday?
yung namin ng first day is trying to get our schedules, all of our schedules on the same thing. But once a week. The idea is to do it once a
Oh, yeah.
week. Just so that we're doing something for health, for both physical health and mental health. Things at work can be very stressful sometimes, and it's all known na pag nag-exercise ka, it releases endorphins, yung happy
Tama yan.
hormones. And when you're exercising with your colleagues, it's also a form of bonding, team building then. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
good.
Oo. Parang sabi nga, the family that prays together stays together. So the company that stays together, parang ganun, that exercise together stays together. Siguro parang, so healthy kayo, which is good, a good vibe.
We're
That,
trying.
di ba? Maganda yan, maganda yan. Nako, we're
Very.
looking forward to see you in, ano yan, mga springtime na siguro, no? Or early summer and springtime, no? Yan ang mga preparation mo, the attorney, no? So
Yes,
that's good, that's good.
hopefully I'll be
Hopefully, yeah.
hopefully sana hindi lang for spring, but sana mabalik yung lifestyle na we're exercising. It becomes a lifestyle. When it becomes a lifestyle na by habit nag-exercise, it's always good for me. That hopefully should be a part of yung routine na every weekend. Siguro yung
It
mga
has,
nag-gym,
oh.
na ano din ako kasi nung pandemic, isa din ako sa mga tao na nagulo yung routine ko. nagulo yung mundo ko nung pandemic. Di ka makapunta ng gym, di ka makaano. So we're trying to get back to some sort of normalcy. Mabalik man lang yung buhay natin o kung ano yung kumbaga remnants of that past, the good bits about that past
Oh,
life.
nga.
Yung togetherness, yung training. At least now, pwede ka nang tumingin sa mga races kasi alam mo, hopefully mangyayari na talaga. And yeah, it's
Anong races? Ano yung mga what do you mean races? Mga 5K? Mga ganun?
marathon.
Marathons. Okay. Tama, races, di ba?
Most marathons are due to really push forward this year. So let's see. But I think the most important thing is to just enjoy being healthy.
Yes,
For
yes.
now,
Oo,
enjoy
oo.
moving. And pag marami kayo, nakaka-pressure ha. Pag,
Bakit?
di ba? Parang nakaka-motivate.
Oo nga. Tama.
Oo,
Oo.
lahat kayo nag-exercise. It's a lot easier. Kasi, sabi, yan na ha, peer pressure tayo. Exercise tayo sa Thursday ha. It's good. It's good. We're very proud
that's
of
good.
it.
That's good.
Natutuwa kami.
Well, I'm proud of you as well, ha? Ibig sabihin, nagsisimula ka na ngayon, ha? What you started your running and then there's office parang group effort na nag-ano kayo, no? Physical fitness thing, no? Ngayon, okay yun, ha? Legs, bums and thumbs, ha? Okay yun, ha?
I'll tell you kung saan yun. Hindi ko original yun. I think, I'll tell you kung saan ko una narinig yan. Mga fitness first. I'm happy to say. Kasi dati matagal akong fitness first na na gym goer, I think 10 years. So dun sa fitness first, that's an exercise. It's a well-known exercise sa mga gym. It's a well-known class. Yung legs.
Tama naman, you have to you think of the legs. The legs is gonna carry you. You're carrying the weight, no? And hanggang sa tumanda ka, dapat nga maano mo yan because there are some people, di ba, nagtutungkod na, no? Pero if you develop your legs, tuloy-tuloy yan. It will carry you till you're probably old age, no? Di ba? Mas madadala mo. Tommy, mas maganda yung may trim na tummy eh. Yan ang problema ko eh.
Yeah.
Ako, I was having 36, 34 na waistline. I hope I can reach at least 30 or 29.
Wow!
Yan ang goal ko. Yan
Wow!
ang goal ko.
Galing.
Hopefully. From
Hopefully,
34
yes.
or
Lahat tayo
36.
may health goals. Yes.
Hopefully lang. Hopefully, yes. Just let's do that.
Ay, what
Okay.
happened?
Okay, let's punta na
Tara
tayo
na.
sa ating yung mga pagbati, we'll have to acknowledge ano to? Okay. Di bale. Sige, let's have habang nag-uusap-usap lang muna tayo. Okidoki. Sige. Hulaan mo lang teka muna. Before we proceed sa kwentuhan natin, attorney. Sige. Ano lang, no? Nahuli ka direct, no? Hindi mo
Naguluhan yung
Tuloy
queue.
ako. Sige. Ito lang muna. Yung ating bago tayo tuloy natin kwentuhan natin, yung ating little game na we have here, kung sino unang bumabati, no? So, attorney, manghuhula ka ngayon, no? Katuan lang. At talking about health, yung fitness natin, tag dito, hindi ko na muna Sige. Talking about, sige, sino hula mo sa unang bumati sa atin? Sige. Unang bumati sa atin.
I have to go with Marian Galicia Paner. Para may iba naman. Para patas.
May iba naman. Sige. Okay. Marian.
Yeah.
Last week ba, sino hinula mo? Would
Si
you remember?
Oliver Fernandez ata
Oliver
last
Fernandez
week.
last week. Sige.
Si Marian Galicia
Ayan, tingnan
Paner.
natin. Kung si Marian Galicia Paner, wala ni attorney. Yung last week na hinula mo, siya naman ngayon. Okay. Sige, attorney, pakibasa.
Okay. Good evening and a happy Tuesday to one and all. The start of the year of the Tiger and the first day of the Love Month. The learning continues as attorney DANNA, Kuya SONNY, and Derek Pao delivers another stellar program about settling disputes with matrimonial finances. Burned 220 calories after running another 5K. But just learned from my long doctor that I may end up with Alzheimer's if I don't use my CPAP breathing machine regularly. Such is life. Nako, Oliver, laban lang, Oliver. Laban lang. He seems like sobrang sabay-sabay tayo mag-exercise every day and hopefully maiwasan din yung Alzheimer's.
Teka muna. You guys, advice ko lang, Oliver, no? I think you have to work on your diet as well because I think ito ang problema sa mga nag-physical fitness. Okay? Ang gagawin nila, they will eat something na parang hindi unhealthy or kaya let's say they eat a muffin. They eat ice cream o kung ano yan or yung mga maraming carbohydrates and then i-burn nila. So what happens is you added kunyari sa weight sa kinain mo o sa calorie intake mo for the day, let's just say nagdagdag ka ng 200 calories. I-burn a muffin, it will take you 3 hours to burn it.
Yeah.
So you end up same weight pa rin. Wala kang progression. So parang nangyayari diyan, kakain ka, i-burn mo, balik ka ulit balik ka doon sa dati mong state. So I don't know kung ang problema is if you're trying to lose weight, Oliver, I think yung concept na burning calories, I don't think it's a good idea. So it's more of minimizing your calorie intake rather than burning the calories that you've added on, 'di ba? Parang ganun eh. Plus, ang calories na hindi mo nagagamit will become visceral fat na yan, no? Tataba ka ron. Pupunta sa belly mo. So yan, no. I don't know, ikaw ba, how do you do? Ano mga treatment mo, attorney, sa mga ganyan, you burn calories. Pero good, nagsisimula sa running,
I think
9th week na yata siya. Yeah, sorry.
I think also kay Oliver, I think yung issue niya is about I think it's sleep apnea ba yan, Oliver?
CPAP.
Sleep
Ano ba ibig sabihin ng sleep? Ano ba CPAP? Ano ba ibig sabihin ng CPAP?
CPAP is a breathing machine that helps you breathe whilst you're sleeping. So I think it's when your lungs are. Correct me if I'm wrong, Oliver. I think I've heard of it before. So I think is it because of sleep apnea, Oliver? Is that the reason? I think you mentioned that before.
Is it machine ba ang tawag? Is it a machine?
Machine yan, yeah. Yeah.
CPAP machine. Oh, okay,
This
okay. All right.
machine, yeah.
Sleep
So,
apnea. Ano ba ang sleep apnea? Ano ba yan?
when you don't get enough oxygen when you sleep, when you stop breathing, literally when you
Stop
sleep.
breathing. Mahirap
Oh,
ba yan?
yeah, I
Delikado ba yan?
think
Delikado
so.
ba yan sa gabi pagka hindi ka
Yeah,
makahinga?
delicado, and that's the reason why they have a breathing apparatus when they do. And
Okay.
I think that's the reason why he's at higher risk of Alzheimer's, because if the brain is
Oh.
not getting enough oxygen, then that's the thing. So I think just anyone do as much, as healthy as you can, lead as much healthy diet as you can. For me, it's always just a balance of making sure na ano ba yung objective mo personally. Is it to build muscle, is it to maintain, or is it to lose weight? So depende yan. And then have a chat with with a nutritionist. It's always worth even one session lang. And then once you get into the routine, malalaman mo na it's also not just about, for me, it's not just about counting kung ano yung calories, kasi yung 200 calories ng bad fat or bad food may
Oo.
be a different with 200 calories of a really really healthy food. But just like anything in life, if you go restrictive mode for a very long time, hindi rin mabuti sa happiness natin. So have a cheat day every once in a while. Find what works for you. Kung ano yung
Okay, attorney. Okay yung sinasabi mo. Have a cheat day. Tama nga naman. Di ba? Kasi pagka ganun, if you'll have to change for example, the way yung pagkain mo, eating yun, di ba? Sabi nga, kasi sabi mo, calories pinag-uusapan dyan. Ang mangyayari na, you will have to retrain your taste. Di ba? And then, of course, siyempre, namimiss mo rin yung mga gusto-gusto mo kainin. Cheat day. You will have to, once in a while naman. Wag lang sunod-sunod, no? Sunod-sunod. Pero,
Exactly.
Oliver, since you're watching, invite mo ako as a friend, no? Yung aking, let's have parang a personal conversation, no? So, at least baka yung condition, baka lang, hindi ko, baka lang magawa ng paraan, no? By way of diet, by way of food.
Yeah,
Diba?
or I'm sure he's spoken to doctors about it, and I'm sure he's in the medical profession, isn't he? He's a nurse as well.
Nurse yan. Nurse si
nurse.
Oliver yata. Tama nga ba, Oliver?
Nurse. Kasi nakita
baka
ko
naman correct me
ako
if I'm wrong.
naka-frontliner yan eh. Naka-frontliner
yeah,
outfit yung profile picture niya last week or last month. But no, kudos to you for doing whatever it
Pero
is.
okay yan. Good yan. Talagang you're burning calories. Ano nga ba objective? Is it the objective to be fit plus lose weight, or is it just,
maintain,
kasi kung
build muscle?
kakain ka rin tapos i-burn mo tapos babalik, parang zero lang ganun. Parang ganun lang. Pero okay yan. Mahusay. That's any effort is great, no? At saka mahirap yun, from couch to 5K. Ako, to be honest, when I was going through it, from week 3 to 5, first 2 minutes ko ang parusa. As soon as I get over the first 2 minutes, okay na ako. Kasi parang mamamatay ako sa 2 minutes dahil yung lungs ko sasabog, hindi ko kaya eh. Pero once na inilaban mo, parang kailangan meron kang determination. Paglagpas ko ng 2 minute ko, yun, okay na. Kaya ko na yung 20 minutes, 25 minutes, 28 minutes. Yun. Pero but I stopped, attorney, yun nga lang eh.
Yeah, it's alright. Get back into it. Kaya yan.
So, ayan, nag-stop ako ng on the 9th week because yung aking sweetheart, si Sol, nagwo-walking kami, ginagaya namin sa YouTube.
Yes.
Nakita mo ba yun? May 30 minutes of walking walking exercise. So, from running, napunta ako ng walking. Anyway, sino second natin? Sige, sino pagbati natin?
Babalik ka, Marian Galicia Paner. Magpakita
Marian
ka
Galicia
na.
Paner. Sige, let's go for Marian Galicia Paner. Okay. Tingnan natin kung tama si attorney. Oh, wow. Asa na kaya yan? Medyo wala siya sakit, no?
Nakabalik na po ba kayo? Happy Tuesday to you both and everyone. Happy Chinese New Year, everyone. Nako, Happy Tuesday po. Ma'am Emeline Rapel.
Emmeline,
Kailan
mabuhay
bumalik
ka.
ka dito?
Oo, okay. Nandito ka na ba o nandiyan ka pa sa Abu Dhabi, no?
Oo.
Nako.
Nako.
Malapit sa
Na.
akin yan. Taga ano yan? Taga Wimbledon yan.
Ay, yes, that's right. Oo
From
nga,
Wimbledon,
no.
oo. So, mabuhay.
Mabuhay
Okay.
po kayo.
Sino tong, pangatlo, hula mo nga. Katuman lang, hula mo. Sige.
Wala pa rin, Mark.
Maria, kanina pa rin.
Sa akin, nasa
Ayan, ito. Attorney, pangatlo natin.
pinsan yun.
Oy. Si Edgar. Mabuhay ka, ha, Edgar. Ano yan? Italian ba yan? O French? Ano ba yan?
Bon
O
Louis, I think that's French.
French
Attorney
ba yan?
Ganda, Donna Quinto, and the legendary Slim Sonny Laragan at sa mga taga-subaybay. Hi, happy gaya kay Ate Dana Day. Mga barkada ko, peace. Get well soon, Amira. Oo nga, nakita ko masama pa at ang
Oy.
pakiramdam ni Amira eh.
Si
Naku,
Amira,
get well
si
soon.
Amira ni Darmin.
Darmin, oo, mas
Pagaling Amira.
Galing
Yan,
ka, ha?
Get well soon, oo. Naku, yung magmami na yan, no? Sa Belgium. Ingat kayo, ha?
Yes.
Take care, no?
Ingat dyan.
We love you guys, no? We love you guys. All right. Okay.
Oh, si Rudy. Yes. Rudy says, magandang gabi ng masayang Tuesday. Mga ka-Pinoy TV, Europe, UK. Maganda palagi, smiley face, Attorney Dana. Always looking, mga gwapong Sir Sonny, Sir Edgar, and lovely Derek Paula from Team Lebroho.
Mabuhay, Team Libro, ha? Mabuhay ka, ha?
Salamat.
Mabuhay.
Salamat po.
Maraming salamat. No? Thank you very much. I'd like to go to Belfast, Attorney, and visit them. No? Makita ko sila Rudy diyan sa may ano ba pangalan to, sa Belfast. No, ayan. No, I've been there a million times, pero at least makabalik ulit. I like the place.
Balik
No?
para makita
Yeah.
ulit. Post-pandemic.
Yes. Post-pandemic.
Ayan,
Oo nga,
ang
mukhang
depo.
lumuluwag na yata, Attorney, di ba? Paluwag na yata tayo. No?
Paluwag na po.
Paluwag
Ay,
na.
lumuwag ata yung Pilipinas. Wala na ata ang hotel quarantine
Ay,
facility.
good. Pwede umuwi na sa Pilipinas. Parang
Feb
parang
1
parang
at
gusto ko makauwi.
pwede na ata. Tapos kailangan natin PCR test eh. So,
PCR test from here going there. Kailangan may meron
here
tayo
going
result.
there. Yeah, from here going there. But
Oh.
that's normal these days. And then self-monitoring ata. Ano ba? Yan ba? Yan ba ang ano? I think I've read it yesterday.
I-check ko pala yung sa Greece kasi we're traveling to Greece on the 10th, no? And hindi ko alam kung may PCR test pa sila, kung kailangan pa nila na 72 hours before until arrival, no? So, pero may date ako nakita na until the hindi ko alam kung the 4th or the 7th, parang meron siyang beyond that, parang wala na. Sana nga, wag na.
Wala
Dahil
na. That's good.
problema ko
Lumagan
eh.
na sa lahat.
Sana.
Naku, exciting.
Sana. Ayan. Uy.
Alejo Mark says, Happy Tuesday po sa inyo. Happy Tuesday, Mark. Nakasmile pa. Happy
Taga-sama.
Tuesday.
Mark, taga-saan ka? Saan yan? Taga-saan ka, Mark?
Mark.
Let us know kung taga-saan ka para nang sa ganun ay malaman natin, no? Okay. Kung malaman natin kung isa ang parts. Kamukha ni Oliver, taga-ano yan? Seattle, Washington. Oo.
Yeah.
Ayan.
Oliver
Ah.
says, yes, attorney, I have pauses in my breath while sleeping. Yep. And it doesn't help the brain. That's right. You hit the nail in the head. I just had steak last night. Ooh, I love steak. Nagutom
Oh,
na naman
yes.
ako.
Hindi, okay lang yan. Okay, sige. I-message mo ko.
60-day juicing detox diet. Actually, steak, kung wala yung maraming side, is not bad. Kung steak lang siya, it's not bad at all. If you have it with salad, it's actually a very, very good, very decent, kumbaga, recovery meal. Yun ang I would say. It's a decent
Steak,
recovery.
okay lang yan. Teka muna. Oliver, I think if I may suggest, unless nakabili ka na ng juicer mo, no? I suggest don't go ahead with the juicer thing. Siguro parang supplemental lang yan.
Okay, yeah.
Alam mo ko bakit, attorney?
Bakit po?
Marami sugar yun eh. And sugar turns
Ah,
into
of course,
carbohydrate, into
Yeah.
carbs, no? And carbs
Yeah,
turn
that's
into
right.
glucose, and glucose
That's right.
is the one that your body will be using. And when your body uses glucose, and if you have parang run out of supply, either magutom ka, manghihina ka, kakain ka uli, no?
That's
So,
right.
sige,
Siguro
pag-usapan
yun ang
natin yan.
diet na hindi ko makakayanan, if I'll be
Which one?
honest. Kasi I do like my food. And I do like eating. And siguro I'll cut down if I really,
Sexy ka, attorney. Wala kang problema. Unlike the others.
Pero no,
Hindi ka naman. Are you overweight?
ay, hindi ako
Oh, yun, kaya nga.
overweight.
Kaya, so wala kang problema.
It's more on cleaning up the diet rather than lowering the calories. It's not lowering the calories, it's improving yung kinakain. Less junk food, more
Oh,
natural food.
Exactly.
Um,
Pero
but I
yung
I
juicing
wouldn't
talaga,
ako siguro hindi ako yung mga smoothie. Tinry ko yun dati, yung mga post-smoothie. Yung smoothie na protein shake, I'm not saying it doesn't work. I'm saying for me, hindi ko talaga siya, hindi ko siya gusto.
ganun ba? Nag-smoothie ako, attorney. Nag-smoothie ako ng ano. Pero yung mga juices, for a while, I think I did it for about 2 to 3 weeks yata. Pero I didn't find it effective eh. So I did something else, no? And that was it. So
And the thing as well, when you, and I've felt this myself out, when you keep up exercising, your body keeps up to it, and your metabolism grows quicker. When your metabolism grows quicker, mas nababurn mo yung food in a quicker fashion. So personally, pag siguro sobrang andun na ako sa kasagsagan ng training, parati akong gutom. Literal, parati akong gutom, Mr.
alam mo
Lalagan.
bakit? Alam mo bakit?
Okay. It's burning the metabolism.
Karamihan ng mga nagba-bodybuilding, yung mga bodybuilding, o kaya nag-exercise sa gym, pag nahinto sila, tumataba sila, lumalaki ka. Mas lalong grabe sila pagkatapos. You know why?
Yeah.
You know why? Because it's more the diet eh. Ang diet, although they work out, but their diet is purely composed of sugar, composed of carbohydrates.
Okay.
So that is the one that's kaya pagka huminto sila at huminto sa gym, huminto sa ano, ang tendency nagbo-bloat. Dahil yung dati nilang kain, pag kinain nila doon sa hindi na sila nag-exercise
Hindi na
sa
sila
gym,
nag-workout.
wala na. Wala silang kamukha na sinasabi ni Oliver na I burned this gantong calories. May equivalent sa na pagkain yun, biniburn mo eh. And yet, you're eating it eh. Dapat you shouldn't be eating that. And then exercise, and then you burn further calories. Ibig sabihin, yung dati mong, rather than yung, di ba, dinagdag mo, no?
Yeah. Yung tinatawag nilang calorie deficit, I think you're absolutely right. Find a way kung ano talaga yung gusto nyo, and more so find a sustainable thing na hindi lang siya seasonal. It's more of a lifestyle.
Tama yan.
Find a way to enjoy it. Most importantly, tayo pa naman Pilipino, gustong-gusto natin pagkain. Kanina nga, nag-iisip na ako ng longganisa na lulutuin ko mamaya.
Wow! Pero ang longganisa ba processed food, attorney? Hindi.
Yes!
Hindi naman, no?
Proudly so. Proudly ko
Hindi,
sinasabi.
parang hindi yata. Ang longganisa yata, parang
It's ground, but it has
grounded
preservatives.
milk.
For sure.
Tapos,
It has preservatives.
okay. Kaya alam ko, I don't know
Cured,
kung processed yan.
It's cured and processed.
Really?
It's
Kasi
cured.
meron akong kaibigan, family, negosyo nila yan, yung mga babuyan. And so, minsan tumutulong ako eh. Ground yan, tapos lalagyan namin sa intestines ng baboy.
Things, exactly.
Oo, ganun. Tapos, yun ang magiging longganisa. Ako, nakakamiss na, nagutom na. Pag ikaw kasama ko, Tori, nagugutom ako lagi. Pero okay, ang kagandahan sa'yo, nakakaluto ka. Nakakaluto ka.
Not strict diet. Pag ako nagutom at gusto ko ng longganisa, kakain ako ng longganisa.
Gusto ko, meron ba longganisa dito? May longganisa ba dito sa atin?
Meron po. Sa
Bacon.
Asian food store, meron.
Bacon, longganisa. Really? Okay. Naku, kinagutom ako. Hahanapin ko yan. This weekend, maglolongganisa ako. Alam mo, hindi ko yata babanggitin yung kinakain ko nitong weekend na oo, medyo nakakahiya eh. Wag mo na. Babulong ko na lang si attorney o kaya iyan ko na sa message ko. Oo, yan. Kung ano yung kinakain ko sa weekends. Para, I'm trying to, okay, tignan natin si Edgar muna bago tayo mag-break at yung pag-usapan yung topic mo, no? Ano nga pala topic natin? Teka na, basahin muna natin to bago, no?
I think Ed may actually, because Ed is very, Ed Ed is
Health
very
buff to.
good in terms of going to the gym. Si Ed is
Oh, health
a
buff to
good
si,
experience. No? Kasi
Oh.
nag-bodybuilding ata to dati. Sabi niya, payo
Oo.
ko si Oliver, eat your regular food but eat mo lang ng portion, tama. Like lunch mo, divide mo ng 3 and eat it the whole day, I think. Then have a cheat day. Tama, it's all about portion sizes and ano yung nabasa ko, eat slowly. Yun talaga yung ano if you eat slowly, mas madali
Talaga.
mong mas mararamdaman mo yung busog mo kapag
So magandang tip yan. Magandang tip yan. Kasi ganito, itong kasi kami dalawa ni Sol, pag kumakain kami, ang bilis niya kumain. Ako, yung double, kunyari, let's say, kung kakain kami, for example, siya, in 10 minutes or 5 minutes, tapos na yung pagkain niya. Ako, mga 30 minutes, same food.
Yeah, same food, yeah.
So, ibig sabihin, anong sinasabi mo na parang hindi ako uli magutom? Sorry, ano ang sabi mo? Ganda tip yun.
It takes a while for our brain to process kung ano yung andun sa tiyan natin. And if you eat slowly, psychologically, you're saying to your brain na mas marami kang, if you chew your food more, if you eat na in a slower pace, mas naaano na brain na, nga no, busog na ako kasi hindi sa tinitrick ka niya, it's just that it's catching up on sending the data sa brain mo na, nga, that's fine, okay na tayo. Kasi kapag mabilis, and ako din, mabilis ako kumain minsan, ayun pala, busog ka, tapos nagulat ka, busog na busog ka. Ano yung kasabihan sa atin na nabigla ka? Nabiglang busog. Yun minsan that's the really easy trick without cutting calories na deliberately is to just like what Edgar is saying, divide it, eat just slower, hindi naman yung na slower, but just chew your food extra, namnamin natin, and yan sabi nila, that's the secret of the French. That's the secret why, if you look at the French diet, it's one of the highest in fat, it's one of the richest, it's one of the most decadent. It's really rich,
Really
but
French,
they eat slowly. They eat their lunch hours are 2 hours. It's 2 hours, and their portion sizes are smaller. It's because they just eat slower. And isa sila sa areas na pinaka, when you think of French, they're mostly petite. Bihira ang obese sa kanila.
Okay. So that could be one of the reasons why they eat slower, no? Parang for them it's not parang rushy, no? Parang they take their time to eat, digest and everything, no? Okay. Baka tama nga, di ba? Tama nga. So yan ang gagawin natin ngayon. Siguro tama rin pala ginagawa ko in a way. It helps me. No? Mas matagal din ako magutom. Siguro parang ganun because I'm eating it slowly. It takes me time, parang ganun. Pero hindi ko alam yan, ha? Ako lang naturally lang kasi because I'm trying to eat something that's like I said, I'm retraining my taste So, yun. Di ba? Sabi mo nga, di ba? So, but anyway, we're gonna have...
naman tayo. Ito na naman, magugutom na naman tayo.
Teka muna, ano nga pala yung topic natin for tonight? Yan.
The topic is practical tips to settle a dispute about matrimonial finances. So last week, di ba binigyan natin sila ng tips para sa parenting plan. Ngayon naman, the same thing, more on practical tips, when you're trying to settle it between the two of you. Ano yung mga, kumbaga if someone wants to get advice from you, attorney, mag-uusap kami next week ng soon-to-be ex-spouse ko. Ano ba yung makakatulong para either ma-settle namin yung finances or at least closer kami to settling. So these are practical tips. When you're looking to directly negotiate with your ex or with your soon-to-be ex-spouse, with the help of a lawyer on the side potentially, but this will keep legal costs to a minimum. Yun ang inaano natin. Para mabigyan kayo ng tips na hindi biglang lumaki ang legal bill nyo. These are things for both parties. This will help both parties and the family as a whole.
Okay. All right. So ayan yan ang ating parang pasakali para sa ating topic for today, yung practical tips to settle a dispute about matrimonial finances para makatipid din kayo, no? Okay, so we're gonna have a short break and pagbalik natin yung yung teaser ni attorney magiging ano na talagang topic na natin for tonight. Huwag ko kayo nga alis, no? Saglit po lamang at magbabalik po kami ni Attorney Danna Quinto. Saglit po lamang.
Mula noon hanggang ngayon, serbisyong mapagkakatiwalaan, serbisyong maaasahan pagdating sa inyong mga padalang balikbayan boxes. Dito ka na sa Forex Cargo. Sa presyong kayang-kaya ng bulsa, sigurado ka pa sa inyong padala. Forex Cargo. Dahil kailangan makarating. Call 0208-813-7064. O, ano pang inaantay niyo mga kabayan? Tayo na sa Forex Cargo.
%100% all natural, tasty, healthy, versatile, 4 unique flavors. Taste a real sauce. Galettos.
May problema ka ba sa landlord mo? Baka AV ka na ni Kuya. May problema sa mga kapitbahay, sa trabaho. O kaya naman kay Mister o kay Mrs. Haway tungkol sa mala, mga may utang, mga aksidente, daing o laban sa ospital or sa NHS, harassment, o baka naman may stalker ka na gusto mong ireklamo. Punta na sa DV Solicitors para matulungan ka pagdating sa mga litigations at iba pang mga legal concerns. DV Solicitors at 2nd floor, Howard House, St. John Street, Bedford, MK42 0DJ. Tumawag sa 01234-350-244 or 01234-225-188 o kaya naman mag-email sa d.quinto@dvsolicitors.com. Visit our website at www.dvsolicitors.com.
Attention sa mga healthcare personnel, ikaw ba ay naghahanap ng trabaho sa healthcare na may magandang sahod, flexible na shift at mahusay na working conditions? Kung oo ang sagot mo, KNR Care ang bahala sa iyo. Kami ay kasulukuyang naghahanap ng mga general nurses, specialist nurses, healthcare assistants, support workers at mga carers. Makipag-ugnayan sa amin ngayon para sa agarang pagsisimula, alamin ang iba't ibang opportunities sa KNR Care dito sa Greater London area. Tumawag sa 0208-154-3009 o mag-email sa info@krcare.co.uk. KNR Care, okay to, kabayan!
Tapos yan niluluto ko Paborito ko yan.
Sa World Remit, naiintindihan namin ang iyong paglalakbay. Na minsan, kailangan lumayo upang makamit ang tagumpay. With ways to save more, when you send more, World Remit is here for you, so you can be there for them.
Okay, balik na ho tayo sa ating programa. No? Ito po ang Legal Advice Corner. SONNY LARAGAN po rito, kasama po ninyo. At syempre, kasama natin yung ating pinakamamahal na abogado ng bayan. No? Walang iba kundi si Attorney Danna Quinto. Attorney, good evening once again.
Good evening. Magandang gabi ulit, Mr. Laragan. Welcome
Ayan.
back sa ating social remote bubble pa rin ngayon, no?
Yes,
To
still, hindi pa naman ganun kaluwag na, maluwag. Although maluwag na.
Malaki yung bubble natin.
Pero nagkaka-miss-miss na tayo and we look forward to sana magluwag-luwag na at magkasama-sama na magkakita-kita na tayo. That would be great, no? So, yeah. Okay, ito yung topic natin. Topic natin na yung di-discuss for tonight, practical tips, mga kaibigan, no? To settle a dispute about matrimonial finances. Sige, attorney, take it away.
Thank you, Mr. Laragan. Yes, usapang matrimonial finances tayo. This is a segue dun sa the last week's topic of discussing parenting plan with your ex-spouse or soon-to-be ex-spouse. May rason po bakit natin inuna yung topic na to before this particular topic. Again, I will recap my favorite summary in terms of family law. 3 areas to deal with if you're at the unfortunate situation na breakdown of marriage nyo na, hindi na talaga mag-work, you tried, either nag-counseling na kayo o talagang binigyan nyo ng grace period yung marriage nyo, but still you've come to a realization na tapos na, unfortunately. Irretrievable breakdown of marriage now. There are 3 things that you need to deal with. The first one, as I've said, is in terms of procedural, it's fairly straightforward. It's the process of getting divorced, just the papers of getting divorced. Very straightforward matter. We'll talk about that another day. The second one, which I would say is the primary consideration. Ito ang una niyong dapat pag-usapan. When you sit down and have a chat sa partner nyo, soon-to-be ex-wife, soon-to-be ex-husband, ito ang una dapat pag-usapan. Mga bata, the children. The children should always be the primary consideration and their best interest. Yun yung operative word doon. Yun yung law. Yun lang ang simpleng batas when we're dealing with children. There's no automatic na determination na sa nanay mapupunta o sa tatay or sa hindi nag-cheat. There's no automatic there's no presumption. There's only one very simple rule in terms of dealing with children. It is what is in the best interest of the children. If you want to go to last week's topic about, what practical things to consider when talking about parenting plan with your ex-spouse, please just go and visit that before you crack on with this. Kasi napaka-importante po na pag-usapan. Number 1, who will look after the children? Sino ba yung kanilang primary carer? Because most of the time, it follows na yung needs and responsibilities nila, accommodation needs, and yung responsibilities nila in terms of raising the children are a bit higher. So yun ang dahilan nun why kailangan na klaruhin before you carry on with the finances. With that, you also need to talk about the contact, where will they live? Kung international family tayo, ano ba, babalik ba sa Pilipinas, dito ba sa UK, all those things that you need to talk about. And then general expenses. Naka-private school ba sila dito? What are we looking at in terms kung hindi man, kung state school man, any other extracurriculars? Are we looking at an athlete here na baka kailangan ng extra training? Those are the big conversations that you need to talk about and sit down before pa kayo mag-move on dun sa third area, which is the matrimonial finances. Heavily contested area, one of the most probably complex areas, dito parating nag-aaway ang mga partido. This can be very expensive sa litigation. I always tell the clients na you may feel na you might be getting back at them, but actually in reality yung nauubos na pera yung hard-earned money nyo. So hopefully these practical tips will save you legal costs. Not necessarily eliminated, kasi makikita nyo sa tips na yan is there are areas na kailangan yung humingi ng advice. How this is put forward is, some of the work or task you can do together or separately, but you can do without the full support ng abogado. Most of those tasks are getting information. A lot of this task is about full and frank disclosure ng inyong financial position. So you will hear it repeatedly from me na we can only give you advice pag meron kaming impormasyon tungkol sa inyong finances. So that's really, that's the start of it. So to start off, pag-usapan ng mga bata, ano ang setup, ano ang arrangement, and once that's agreed, then you can move on and hopefully sit down in terms of finances. What you need is to agree first and foremost a date to exchange information. Kasi you will see dito sa listahan na ibibigay ko, yung mga kailangan yung alamin, it may need a few weeks to get those information. So you sit down, you say, nako, sabi niya ni Attorney Dana, kailangan nating magbigay, we call it exchange. If you remember jargon buster, kailangan natin mag-exchange, kaliwaan tayo ng informasyon about our finances. What are these information? So it's basically assets, income, liabilities, as well as expenses. I'm gonna go through it one by one and practical steps to get those information. Kasi ito, hindi nyo kailangan ng abogado dito. You could save a lot with these tasks. Most of the time, we have to collate this information and put it in what we call Form E. Again, nandun yan sa jargon buster natin. But for this particular exercise, we'll give you practical tips na kahit hindi ka nag-fill up ng Form E, andun pa rin yung impormasyon. So number one, valuation of all properties. Let's start with the UK property. So if you have bought a property, joint mortgage kayo or jointly own nyo yung property na to, or may iba pa kayo na may ibang property pa kayo na solely owned, it doesn't matter kung joint or sold, lahat ng properties you have to disclose. You have to get valuation. So paano mo makukuha yan? They actually, estate agents, yun ang makakabigay ng impormasyon sa inyo dito. They can do valuation for free most of the time. What they do sometimes is a drive-by, hindi sila papasok sa bahay nyo. But some of them would actually, before COVID, they're much easier to do those face-to-face appointments. These time, they're quite happy to provide a drive-by valuation. How do they get that? From historic sale figures ng mga kapitbahay nyo and depende sa market. So this is an exercise that needs a third party to assist you. Estate agent, magic word, valuation ang kailangan nyo. And I would suggest, wag lang kayo kumuha ng isa. I suggest between you both, kung mag-uusap kayo, sasabihin nyo, in 4 weeks time, balik tayo ha. We'll give ourselves a deadline. Today's Feb 1. Can we come back on Feb 28? With as much information, with this following information. So whilst you're doing that, when you're talking about valuation, i-google nyo na, both of you, sinong estate agent ang tatawagan natin. What you can do is pareho kayo, you can nominate, either yung unang party will nominate 5, and then the other party will pick 3 out of those 5. I would say get an average of 3 valuation para patas, para alam mo yung average ng mga estate agents, because valuing a property is not an exact science. You know, it's partially opinion, it's partially about the property market at a certain period of time. Another tip, if a lot of my clients would say to me, naku, Attorney Dana, may valuation na kami, meron kaming ginawa, pero last year pa. Kailangan pa ba namin ng updated valuation? The answer is yes. It's at the moment it's a very dynamic market, and hindi mo alam kung sometimes hopefully it goes up. That's the natural trajectory ng property market. But at certain times it might go down, or it might still be steady. It might still be the same. But the most important thing is kailangan ang impormasyon nyo is as fresh as possible when you make a deal. So if you are in actual court proceedings, most of the times, every time we get to a hearing, And especially kung mga ilang buwan na bago kami makarating dun sa susunod na hearing, we always do updating disclosure and sometimes updating valuation. So ginagaya natin yun. Pero in this case, pareho kayo, jointly kayo nagagawa. So habang nag-uusap kayo, yan na, tingnan natin yung tatlong estate agents na pupuntahan natin para makakuha tayo ng average valuation. That's it. That's really the highest value asset ng karamihan ng mga tao. That's their biggest investment here in the UK, yung kanilang family home, or we call it former family home. Nabulol ako ng konti doon, but we call it sa amin, it's former family home or FMH. Yun ang pag maririnig mo yung abogado na magkano yung FMH nyo, hindi po yan magazine, hindi po yan kung ano na, that is actually your former matrimonial home. So go do that. Go get your state agents. Get 3 para average. Next is mortgage redemption figure. Magkano yung inyong utang sa bangko doon sa inyong matrimonial home. If you don't, fantastic. Wala akong mortgage free na. Tapos na yung mortgage. Brilliant. That's good. Kung meron pa, if you're still paying mortgage payments every month, sometimes, sabi mo, tingnan ko lang yung balance sa Attorney Dana. Not quite. What you really need is a mortgage redemption figure dahil sometimes may early repayment fee. So meron may mga contra charges na nilalagay. So you need to be as accurate as possible. Don't worry, hindi po maaalarma yung bangko nyo. Hindi yan alarm bell sa kanila. It's normal to ask for a mortgage redemption figure. So that's what we need. The reason why we need that is we need to figure out, and this is the formula, value less utang, value ng bahay, the valuation na makukuha nyo dun sa estate agent. That's the sale price, potential sale price ng estate agent mo. And then your mortgage, and that will give you the equity. Yun talaga yung nasa inyo, that's your equity in your family home. Academically, lawyers deduct 2% of cost in terms of that. But don't worry about that for now. Leave that later kasi meron siyang sariling section when you ask advice from lawyers. And that's the reason why most of the time may karamihan nito you can do, but still legal advice is very valuable because there are technicalities in there that can help in your case. But the intention is that you get this advice at the right time and you can get the most value for this advice. Kompleto na yung information mo and I can give you as clear and as full of an advice as possible. So get your mortgage, put it in an Excel spreadsheet or put it in your folder nyo, get yung valuation ng estate agent, good to go. Hindi lang yung bahay sa Pilipinas or sa bahay sa UK, lahat ng properties, Pilipinas, may holiday home kayo sa Spain, meron kayong home sa up north, may buy to let kayo somewhere else, may investment property kayo, hindi lang yung inyong family home. It's all assets. Lay your cards on the table. So the same na exercise goes for all other assets, value, and then kung may utang man yung bahay. Next is kung may business kayo, if you're self-employed, you need to value your business. Hindi po ito yung profit and loss statement nyo, although kailangan din yung audited accounts for the last, I would say, 2 years or 3 years. Just get that because your accountant might need that to value the business. So who can value the business? Tatanong ng kliyente, ikaw ba, Attorney Dana, can you value the business? No, we can't. Lawyers can't. We don't have the skill to value that. So you have to go to your accountant and ask them for a valuation. Or kung sobrang specific, it's a very, very complex company or complex industry, you may have to go to a particular professional. But the takeaway here is yung value ng business, it's a figure. It's not just a figure from profit and loss. Meron po silang formula dyan. The accountants have certain formula. They may add some value for goodwill. So that's their mechanism or methodology. They need to also explain there. Halimbawa, lalagay lang nila sa letter yung value ng business. We would like to know how they arrive at that methodology. Kasi kailangan yan, if we go to court, that's exactly what the court would say. O, paano mo kinompute yan? Accountant, can you explain how you arrive at that figure? So you need to get the value of your business as well as business bank accounts and your audited accounts, which in the UK, meron kaming tinatawag ng company's house, yun yung kung saan mo submit yung mga papeles mo. But it's always just good to just prepare that as well. Diyan yan sa folder mo. Next, itong matagal bumalik. Itong impormasyon na sometimes may even take more than 4 weeks to come back. So you need to have the valuation of your pension. Madami tayong kababayan dito na NHS employees, and NHS employees, most of them do have their own NHS pension. NHS pension information have always been decent. Medyo okay naman yung turnaround time nila, pero hindi po yan impromptu na pagtawag nyo, andyan na agad yung information. What you need is this. Sa jargon buster natin, I've mentioned this. It's called CETV. That's called Cash Equivalent Transfer Value. So yung 10 years nyo sa NHS na dinideduct dun sa monthly nyo all the time, yung pension nyo, that would have a value now. Hindi lang yan additional lahat, but that would have a certain investment value. You need that figure, and the only way to get that figure is to ask it, either HR nyo, kunin nyo yung information kung saan nyo pwede makuha yan, or kung hindi kayo NHS, just try to figure out kung sino yung, kung ano yung pension provider nyo, and you can write to them or call them. Again, it's a completely normal thing to ask. Don't worry, hindi po sila ma-alarma. It wouldn't cause concern. That's one thing. And as I've said, it may not arrive very quickly. Minsan yung 4 weeks, hindi enough, but at least tanungin nyo na at i-request nyo na. It goes for non-NHS as well. Yung iba, ilang trabaho yung, they had 5 years in this company, 5 years in the company. Baka hindi lang isa yung pension, baka 2 o 3. So you really have to think about lahat ng naging pension pot nyo. Quite important. Next is mortgage raising capacity. Ngayon, kung kayo ay joint mortgage, and this is the case where it may need a bit of a chat, a discussion with the bank. Isa sa mga deal na nangyayari, sasabihin, buyout mo na lang ako dun sa take over the mortgage dun sa ating former family home. Can you buy me out? So the question is also, what is possible when we talk about practical steps to settle a dispute? This is the time to start exploring kung number 1, can you take over the current mortgage on your own? That depends sa sweldo mo, and that depends sa kung magkano na lang yung utang sa bahay. So you can have a preliminary chat with the bank. Again, hindi naman sila hindi naman sila completely, hindi naman yan breach ng inyong mortgage agreement kung kayo maghihiwalay. This is a normal task for any couples who may be looking at their options if they divorce. So have a chat with your bank. Kailangan malaman nyo yan before kayo mamili sa mga options nyo. Can you take over the mortgage? And if so, magkano yung magiging remortgage figure nyo? Magkano yung babayaran nyo? Because that will come handy later. May isa tayong task as well that will require that. If you're looking to split the proceeds when on buyout, and if you're looking to buy somewhere else on your own, downsize, you need to find out yung sarili mong mortgage capacity as well. So in any event, talk to a mortgage broker find out about your options in terms of that. Both of you, hindi lang isa, dalawa. Even if sa tingin mo wala kang mortgage capacity, it's still good to have that evidence in writing that you ask a mortgage broker and according sa kanya, wala ka talagang mortgage capacity. So okay lang yun, kahit sabi mo, oh, hindi, wala akong mortgage capacity. So prove it. Put it in, let's have it in writing. Next, you need your bank statements. Normally, what the court asked in so form is 12 months. So both of you would have to get all those bank statements. Savings, ISAs, that's savings in the UK. Shares, yung mga investment nyo, bonds, shares, all of that. Any other assets worth £500 and above, including cars. So you also need to value your car. And how is that? The normal thing to do is just look on AutoTrader or just do a cursory Google search. If yung car nyo is something very special and very valuable, and we know it's a classic Porsche, it's a classic Ferrari worth about £2 million, then you may need an expert's report and valuation. But if it's something more of a regular car, then a Google search would do. We've had instances, a little talk, we've had instances, may cases kami involving classic cars. So both parties would have to dispute yung value ng classic car. One party says this is how much and the other party says how much. Sometimes enough yung what's available on the internet, tinatawag the market price, but sometimes you may need an expert. I've had disputes in the past about very valuable vases, or vases as we call in the Philippines or American English. And again, we both parties had, and we're talking about I probably shouldn't say kung kanino basis, just in case the case gets identified, but quite valuable. So you know, normally yung vase na ginagamit na binili natin from Tesco, hindi mo ilalagay yan. But in this instance, if it's very valuable, add it. Add yung valuation. Kung hindi nyo alam, then go get someone to value it. Go get an expert to value it. Now, I said, yung impormasyon nyo about magkano babayaran nyo sa mortgage and all of this, that's the time to collate this information kasi kailangan nyo yan, including loan liabilities, hindi lang asset liabilities, loan payments, credit cards, everything. Kung may utang kayo sa isang tao, put it there as well. Kung may utang yung isang tao sa inyo, you have to put it there too. You have to give that information. It's all relevant when you do your living expenses table. Basically, it's a budgeting. How much are you spending now on mortgage, petrol, council tax, the usual, yung budget nyo now? And in the future, now as in joint household, in the future, ano yung magiging budget nyo? Ano yung kailangan nyo? Ano yung income requirement nyo? So looking at that, that's the reason why this information is quite good kasi sasabi mo, okay, kung magre-remortgage ako, ito pala yung kailangan ko na budget from a mortgage payment. Kung bibili ako ng mas maliit na bahay up north, ito yung magiging new payment ko for the mortgage. And this is going to be, the smaller the house, obviously, the smaller ang council tax, electricity, and bills. It just gives you that information kung ano yung kailangan mo. What do you need in the future? What is possible and what is realistic? And again, hindi lang yan para sa isang partido, para din yan sa kabilang partido. So very, very good to do that. Now, once andyan na lahat ng impormasyon na yan, had clients, very, very, very organized. Nilagay talaga nila sa Excel spreadsheet. Very, very helpful. Very good. Hindi po yan required. As long as it's in some form of collated document, na andun lang sila lahat, that's the time to get legal advice. Because with that, I can give you my preliminary feedback kung potentially what would work in terms of settlement, what would be the court's view applying Section 25 factors kasi ito yung test dito eh. Kung di-divide ng korte yung matrimonial finances, they go back to Section 25 factors. Ano yung kailangan nyo? You know, what's the extent of this asset? How can we divide it, bearing in mind your needs, both of your needs, bearing in mind children, and bearing in mind the resources, the responsibilities, standard of living, length of marriage of both of these parties. Any health concerns, you have to let us know as well. Any potential change in circumstance, let us know as well, so we can have a full picture and see how we can say to you, eto, you know, this is your strategy or our strategy when we negotiate with them. From then on, you have three options. You can let your lawyers negotiate with the other side, lawyer to lawyer. You can go back and negotiate directly kasi alam mo na eh, meron ka ng legal advice. You know kung ano yung potentially pwede mong i-negotiate. Or you can go to mediation, knowing that you're armed now with an idea of what it is that you can claim reasonably. And you can actually say na, okay, the court will probably be with me if I claim for this. So when you go and negotiate directly, which is possible, you know, again, we're trying to save legal cost here, I would say, wag muna kayong umoo. And if you think yung mga things that are fairly straightforward, by all means, you can, kung agree naman kayo dun sa pareho kayo about the sale of the home, that's fine. If in doubt, you can always say to the other side, look, I just need 1 day. Pag-usapan lang namin ng abogado ko, and then you can talk to my lawyers. So may mix na, may hybrid nun. Some of it you can talk together. It obviously depends kung maayos pa, diplomatic pa kayo ng ex mo. You know, and sometimes it does work. May mga cases kami na nakakapag-usap pa sila. May mga cases na hindi talaga. But hopefully by this, alam na natin kung nasan tayo in terms of the atmosphere in negotiation. Hopefully too, you'll get into a settlement. Once you get into a settlement, hindi po ending yan. Hindi dyan nagtatapos. We need to put it in a consent order. So consent order is the settlement agreement. Lawyers would probably have, would likely in this instances, most instances, doon na nagkakaroon ng technical debate yung mga lawyers, and that's very technical. You have to let your lawyers do their job in that end. Once you're agreed, everyone is happy sa technicality, sa lahat na nakalagay dun sa consent order, and it's really what you agreed, both of you, you will now send that to the court for sealing. At ang judge ay titingnan pa rin yan kung reasonable ba ang inyong napagkasunduan, ang inyong compromise, ang inyong settlement. So the judge actually will or may ask questions if they're not quite clear. Bakit ganyan yung settlement? They are allowed, they have discretion to ask questions, and sometimes they would still ask people to come in and say, I just want to make sure that both of you understand this settlement agreement. You have to wait for what I said is a sealed order, final seal ng korte. And once you have that sealed order, may mga steps dyan normally. So you implement those steps contained in that order. So that's it really. That's the practical tips to settle a dispute about matrimonial finances. Most of it is really gathering information. I gave you practical advice there kung ilang impormasyon, sinong tao pupuntahan nyo, sinong organisasyon yung pupuntahan nyo, potentially what would make things quicker. And then once you have all of those, that is the most conducive time, yun ang pinaka-fruitful time to get advice, because you will make the most out of your legal cost in that instance. I hope that's helpful. Pair this, as I've said, final advice. Please watch this with my previous video, with a previous show last week, 25th, I think it was 25th of January, about parenting plan. And hopefully that gives you in a good stead to a settlement with as least of legal costs and legal worries as possible.
Okay, ayan. Practical tips to settle a dispute about matrimonial finances. Ayan. Teka muna, may question yata
Sige po.
si Edgar yata. Pasok nga natin, may question yata. Direct, yan ba yung question? Sige, ayan. Okay. Yan, attorney. Tanong yan. While on divorce processing, biglang minamatay. Tapos pinamanahan ako ng malaking kayamanan. Mapapasama ba ito sa hatian ng property? For example, biglang
Yes.
ganyan, no? Ha?
Yes.
Kasama yan.
Yes. Kung namatay na, and that's a very good question, Edgar. And that's imminent. We call it, pag napamana na sa'yo, or andun ka na, reading out of the will, and alam mo na itatransfer, all they need is a formality. I would, my position in that is kasama yan. And sometimes, sinasabi, they're asking, do you know of any imminent inheritance? Just by the fact na matanda yung magulang and likely may inherit, not necessarily in those situations, very different from Edgar's question na namatay na and alam na makakamana talaga ng kayamanan. So that would form part of your financial disclosures.
Hindi ba pwedeng remedy doon, attorney, na patagalin nila? Kunyari, may mamanahin pa. Teka muna, tapusin ko muna ng divorce, sa kanya i-formalize yung mana. Would it say, for example, nagawa nilang ganun, mahahabol pa rin ng isang party, uy, meron palang minana right after nung divorce namin.
No. Kasi hindi mo naman, you can't tell kung kailan mamamatay yung tao eh.
Okay. All right. Okay.
But,
Asa namatay ito. Kasi sinasabi ko lang, yung bibigyan ka ng pera na kunyari, may gusto iba na sa'yo, kaya bigay lang sa'yo. It fell during the time na nagdi-divorce. Yun, papasok sa yun, di ba? Papasok sa
I think the question there is kung namatay na.
Kung namatay, hindi. I was just thinking naman, kung sakali lang, may impending, somebody would like to give you some money, for example. Pero, pag yan, binigay sa'yo, during the time na ongoing in divorce, papasok yun sa hatian pa rin, di ba?
Papasok yun
Yung
kung
full
binigay.
disclosure na
It's a
sinasabi
gift.
natin. First of all, sabi mo, frank and full disclosure.
That's
But
right.
if, for example,
The
afterwards na,
operative
later
word
on,
there, sorry. I'm
Dali.
just gonna finish that. Yung
Go ahead.
operative word is nabigay na. So, na-transfer ng legal title ng
Oo.
pera, binigay sa'yo. So, that forms part of your assets. If buhay pa yung tao, and di mo naman alam kung ano yung nakalagay sa will, or kahit alam mo, pero buhay pa yung tao, not necessarily. Kasi it will only pass kung patay na siya, if it's under a will. But if it's a straightforward gift, at binigay sa'yo nung time na yon, then you have to put this in your disclosure.
okay, will attorney, sa will, di ba may executor yan, mga ganyan?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, sa isang teka muna ba, may question kasi ako doon sa natin, pero sige, ipunta ko lang din, may nag-cross lang sa mind ko. Executor, pwede bang, may nangyayari ba na ang asawa hindi executor ng isang namatay?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Kasi may case meron tayong kababayan, got married to a very old man, and then namatay, bumili ng property, nagkamit yata sila online, so pumunta sa online, so I don't know, fell in love, umuwi sa Pilipinas, sa Cebu yata yun, bumili ng property yung guy doon, under his name, umuwi na rito, nakuha yung babae, yung Pinay na kababayan natin, tumira yata sa wills, namatay yung lalaki, pero doon sa will, ang executor yung kaibigan.
Mm-hmm.
Pwede yung ganun? Ganun ba? Pwede yung ganun?
We have to make, I'm just going to make the distinction between executor and beneficiary. Yung executor po is taga-administer lang sila. So you can have anyone as your executor. It can be lawyers, it can be anyone. So it doesn't necessarily mean anything. Walang rule who can be executors. So that's absolutely fine.
Okay, so kasi hinaharas ng kababayan natin, actually ang naghaharas yung kaibigan eh. So yung kaibigan ng executor, yung kaibigan ng isa dahil alam niyang merong property o condo sa Pilipinas, tinatakot niya to. Are you telling me na may right yung kababayan natin dahil asawa niya yung guy?
We don't know what's in the will. Hindi natin. Executor
Okay,
doesn't
okay. So
mean
hindi pa natin
beneficiary. Yeah,
Okay.
executor doesn't necessarily mean beneficiary sa will. So we don't know who's on
Okay.
the will. Executor is just the man.
Okay,
Siya yung
okay.
administer
Pero
lang. So
Mm.
it could be a lawyer. It could be a lawyer. It could be anyone. And they have to follow the will. They have a duty under,
Okay.
I think it's the Trustees Act here, to follow what's been said on the will. So that's their duty.
I-check ko nga, parang hindi daw napunta to sa sa babae, napunta yata sa anak na strange na anak yata. As per o parang gano'n sa will yata yun na lumabas. Pero ang executor, yung friend, pero ang nangaharas yung another friend na nakakaalam, uy, may condo pala sa Cebu yung guy, no? So hinaharas, no? Parang gusto lang malaman ng mga kababayan natin kung siya ba may right doon sa property na yun. But we'll only have to find out.
If
Yes.
if she is a spouse,
Okay.
and kung wala siya sa will, potentially she can still have a claim under trustees provision for dependents act trustees it's called inheritance provision for dependents act 1975. So if she's regularly maintained or if she's a spouse in this instance and she doesn't have reasonable provision, hindi enough yung nabigay sa kanya sa will, she could potentially challenge the will under that statute. It's called inheritance provision for dependents act 1975. If she is saying na hindi sa husband yung condo, because the question is how can a foreigner own a property in the Philippines? I'm not sure if that's possible. Condo, yes, I think they can.
Condo, pwede yata.
I don't know kung full percentage. So if that's his, if she's saying na may different agreement sila between them, then that property would have to be subject to Philippine probate law. It would have to follow yung jurisdiction ng Philippines. But generally, if she's saying under the UK jurisdiction na hindi siya nakakuha enough from the estate, pwede niya ma-challenge yung buong estate, hindi lang yung condo, the whole estate, into saying, well, I'm a spouse, I didn't get reasonable provision, I'm making a claim under the Inheritance Provision for Dependents Act 1975.
Okay, well, maganda yan. Ha? Kung nanonood ho kayo at apektado ho kayo ng situation na gano'n, no? Halimbawa, ayan, yung sinasabi ni attorney.
Tinanggal kayo
Maganda.
sa will and asawa kayo, you have a potential claim.
Okay. Attorney, for example, yung sinasabi, sabi nyo, unang-una yung full and frank disclosure of finances, malaking bagay yan, di ba? Mas napapadali, napapaayos ng lahat-lahat, no? You agreeing on the date to exchange information, ano yan, is it going through muna, is this the date after you've done everything, finding yung mga valuation ng lahat ng whatever you have and you both have, yung ba sinasabing date of agreeing on a date of exchange of information?
Correct.
Or is
That's
it like
right.
a continuous date of exchange?
No, I would say one date lang para
One date lang.
The practical reason for that is you had a separation, you wouldn't want to be seeing them every week, medyo emotionally taxing yan. What you want is do your assignment, set a date in 4 weeks time para naman hindi kayo parating nag-friction, because it's emotionally heavy to talk about this, to discuss this. So it also gives you a breathing space. Now you're not talking about it every week. You say, look, we have 3 weeks to get this sorted. Let's do our homework. Let's come back again. Make sure we've done our homework in 3 weeks time.
Okay, attorney, dito ba parang in effect pagka ganyan bang lahat ba ng properties ng bawat isa pupunta dun sa sa hatian?
Sa disclosure, yes
Disclose.
and no.
So, Okay,
Yes,
yes and
and
no.
no. There's a
Okay.
longer answer. Yes, you have to disclose. Yes, everything you have to disclose in your name. And potentially kung beneficiary ka ng isang trust na hindi nasa name mo but you're a beneficiary, you still have to disclose that. No, in terms of division, because your lawyers can make arguments na hindi siya matrimonial. But that's very, very technical. May mga principles, complex legal principles relating to that. Kung hindi na mingle, I'll give examples when lawyers can argue non-matrimonial yung isang property. The first example is the property was a premarital asset at never siya naggamit ng family, never nagka-benepisyo yung family from that asset, so it retained the non-matrimonial feature. So always separate siya, always there. We've never used it, we've never touched it, we've never received income from that. So that's one way of ring fencing it. But you can only ring fence kung yung pot nyo na matrimonial pot nyo ay enough para sa inyo. Sa madaling salita, hindi mo pwedeng ipagdamot yan kung hindi enough kung ano yung nasa pot nyo. And that's what we call, kung hindi, you can only do that kung enough na yung pot to cover reasonable needs. Kung hindi enough yung matrimonial asset nyo to cover reasonable needs, i.e. in this case, in most situations, 2 household, then the court may have a discretion to touch those potentially non-matrimonial assets. That's the reason why kailangan pa rin i-disclose. Kasi titingnan pa rin. Okay, the court will say, what do you say about these lawyers? What are these assets? Are everything matrimonial? Let me hear arguments about non-matrimonial properties. Is this a reasonable needs case? Or is this what we call big money case? Karamihan nagiging successful lang yung mga arguments about, ito premarital to ha, or ito sa pamilya namin to, kasi sa angkan namin to, it's always been in the family. Those cases tend to be more successful in big money case, really, really big money. So, very complex argument, very interesting, but as I've said, it will only be successful if what you have as matrimonial is enough for you both. If it's not enough, you can't start what we call ring fencing. Hindi mo pwedeng itabi yan. Hindi mo pwedeng completely out of the way yan.
Okay, for example, attorney, let's say siyempre wag na may tulot, no? Let's say si Edgar at si Irene magdi-divorce. Si Irene, binilan ng, kasi sabi mo, 500, anything 500 upwards ba? Tama ba yan?
Correct, that's right. It's disclosable, yeah.
Any asset from 500 upwards, no? Ha? Tama ba yan? Okay. Say, for example, I'm sorry?
Form E, that's from
Form E.
Yeah.
Okay, for example, si Irene binigyan ng 5,000, let's say, napakamahal na watch si Edgar, 5,000 pound. Nagbigay din ng 5,000 pound worth ng si Edgar naman kay Irene ng siguro necklace. Sabihin na natin, diamond necklace. What happens? In effect ba, can we say that yung gift na binigay mo during the pendency of the marriage, pwede mong, in a way, you can get back half of it?
What would happen is it's not sharing half. So the first stage is disclosing. So disclosing muna, and you will have an overview of the asset. So baka naman in this instance nagbigay ng 5,000, nagbigay ng 5,000 na watch si Irene kay Edgar, 5,000 na watch. Pero si Edgar ay nagbigay ng 100,000 pounds worth of Picasso painting kay Irene. Mm-hmm. What will happen is 2 things. You will look at these assets and you will say, what do we do with this? Kasi hindi naman pwede. The first example that you said, pwede mong sabihin, kanya-kanya na lang ha, those assets. Yeah, it seems like fair. The watch gets back to Edgar and the jewelry goes back to Irene. in this instance, it's not fair. It's clearly a big asset. The Picasso paintings are a big asset. So unless mabigyan ng 50%, the straightforward answer is mabigyan ni Irene ng 50% minus 5,000 si Edgar, which is 45,000, then potentially we'll have to sell the Picasso painting and then split it. Available for splitting or adjustment dun sa hatian ng asset. So yes, kung kahit yung mga nabigay nyo, potentially, pwede pa rin maging part ng asset base. Kasi asset yan for disclosure.
Alright. So lahat kasi nga, di ba? Nagpapasok lahat yan ngayon doon sa parang di-disclose nyo, no? Lahat na assets na meron and then paghahatian nyo. Okay.
Very different dun sa pinag-usapan natin, no? Yung engagement ring. Na pag nabigay mo na, hindi mo na pwedeng kunin. But kung mag-asawa kayo, potentially, kahit nabigay mo, pwede nyo pa rin paghatian.
Paghatian. Kamukha 100,000 worth of painting, no? So sabihin ni Edgar, teka muna. Malaki-laki na ibigay ko. Alam ka naman sa'yo yan. Sa'yo lang yan. Diba?
Exactly.
So, okay.
Exactly. It's an asset. It's an asset base.
It's an asset base. Tama. Okay, well, at least at least na-discuss natin, maganda na-explain mo. These are the tips that could help you, no, para hindi ganun lumaki ng konti ang inyong mga expenses, no. Sabi mo, ano ba tawag dito? Okay. Pag nabuo na yung parang Excel, then you there are 3 options. So sabi mo, let the lawyer negotiate. 2, you can do the negotiation yourself. Tama ba yan?
Yeah.
Or the 3rd, you have to go to mediation.
Once you receive legal advice from your lawyer, kung ano yung potentially na hindi lang yung information, so you bring the information to your lawyer. Kasi ito na yung information namin. Ano ba yung pwedeng hatian? So I would be able to give them or to give the client an idea, and I can say to them, do you want me to relay kung ano yung offer mo, or do you want to relay your offer directly to the other side? At pag-usapan nyo.
Ang consent order, yun din ang parang sealed order, final sealed order. Yun
Exactly, yeah, exactly. Yes, that's right.
Anong when you say may seal or sealed in an envelope?
May seal talaga, may seal.
May seal.
It's nothing special. Hindi naman siya yung dry seal actually. May simpleng ink lang ng korte.
Okay. Akala ko parang naka-seal na envelope parang nakasarado. So, seal yun, pero hindi parang dry seal. Basta seal yun from the court. From the court.
Yeah.
And that formalizes the matrimonial whatever yung finances, no? But that settles everything na. Parang ganun ito na hatian, ito na yung ano. Okay. All right. Teka muna. Going into that dun sa may you need at least 3 valuation yung advice mo dun sa value ng property.
You don't necessarily need 3 if you want 1 only, kung talagang gusto nyo isa lang. But it's always good to get 3 para alam mo na ito talaga yung opinion ng karamihan na estate agent.
Kaya ko tinanong yun kasi let's say kung naging 3, isa lang ako, fine, pero kamukha nung merong 2 maghihiwalay, isang siguro will have to buy out, di ba? Kasi either, di ba? Parang ganun eh. So, ihingi ngayon ng 3 valuation para ano ngayon dapat kunin doon? Ano kukunin? Siyempre, bawat yung gusto nung magre-retain, gusto niya yung lowest. Yung siguro, yung isa naman na aalis, dahil siyempre gusto niya kunin kalahati niya, yung highest ba? Ganun ba? Do you have to compromise? Sa mid ba kayo? Sa median ba kayo? Average?
The fairest way, and usually what the court says, is average nyo lang.
Average lang, average. So sa 3 na yun, yung average. So halos more or less sa gitna.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's as fair as it can be. That's the reason why 3 din yung kinuha. Para average. No one can say now yung kinuha mo ganito, yung kinuha mo ito. 3, you average 3. That's as fair as it can be.
Okay, alright. May quick question lang dito. Ilabas mga direct yung last, parang eto dali ewan ko makakapag-react ka rito kay Leia B. Attorney, tingnan mga to kung okay lang sa'yo to.
Let's
Sige. Pero sa Pilipinas to parang, ayan. Good evening, Attorney Dana, Sir Sonny. Nakapag-asawa po ako ng isang British at kinasal po kami dito sa UK. Hindi po successful ang marriage namin and divorced na po kami for 7 years. Masasabi pa rin po ba na married ako sa ating bansa, Philippines, kahit dito po ako naikasal at na-divorce? Hindi naman siguro kung dito lang kinasal.
Nalagay mo ba sa Pilipinas? Oo, saan ba kayo kinasal? Kinasal sila sa UK?
Dito.
Meron bang ano yan? Meron bang dito yan? So, kung wala namang paper trail sa Pilipinas and the paper trail, the jurisdiction has always been in the UK, then wala na. Wala ka na talaga. Divorce ka na dito eh. Dito naman yung original na na jurisdiction.
Tama. On the other hand, kung doon ka kasal sa Pilipinas,
exactly.
Kayo rito, nag-divorce kayo rito, divorce ka na kayo rito, pero in a way, kasal pa rin kayo sa Pilipinas.
May paper trail pa sa Pilipinas.
Trail
pero
sa
ito mukhang wala talaga silang paper trail o wala talagang nahagip na fact na hindi talaga nagkaroon ng experience yung family sa Pilipinas. So I think
there's nothing to worry about.
Nothing to worry about.
Baka ang worry niya siguro parang ayaw niya masabing kinasal siya, nagkaroon sila ng relasyon. Baka yun ang sinasabi mo. Iba na yun. Okay, may binigyan ako, ang sabi niya, binigyan ako ng Omega Seamaster.
Wow.
Binigyan ko din siya ng Omega Watch. Cindy Crawford style siya. Kaya tabla para mas mahal na value ng watch ko kaysa sa kanya. Paano yan?
You still have to disclose. Baka pwede niyong mabigyan ng settlement in due course na sabihin mo, bigyan mo na lang siya ng panibago pang relo, Ed, para tabla talaga.
Yes, ganun lang siguro. May additional na lang na ano. Okay.
Ito mga taas yung value ng Omega Seamaster. Yung mga ganyan ng mga relo talagang you need to value it. You need to get an updated valuation kasi may mga watches, especially with watches, na ito yung binili ko, but actually it's 5 times more expensive now. So appreciating asset din siya sometimes.
May friend ako Pilipino, yan mahusay sa ganyan. Kung gusto yung advice sa mga relo na yan, yung kaibigan natin. Si Dan Revelo, mahusay sa ganyan.
Wow.
May collection siya ng ganyan, no?
May collection siya,
May collection and then he sells it online din, so nagkaano din, no? Ma'am Cora
says, you can ask Dan kung kailangan niya ng valuation.
Dan Revelo, kung kailangan mo ng valuation. Hello, Sir Sonny, Attorney DANNA at lahat. Masayang gabi, sabi ni Ma'am Cora Carsola.
Ay, Tita Cora! Gandang gabi po.
Ito, pagka-program mo, lumilitaw to. Pagka kay Attorney Lira, hindi mo makita no? Mukhang ikaw lang ang gusto nito. O baka busy nga, tama yan. Okay,
ayan ang roving report.
Pakibasa, Attorney.
Good evening, Mr. Laragan, Attorney DANNA, and Direct Pao. Happy Tuesday to the viewers. Happy Tuesday to those eating. Nagugutom na ulit tayo. Edgardo, ano ba? Remote working ka ba din?
Yes, remote working ka ba? Oo, or nasa opisina ka, no? Pumupunta ka na. Dahil maluwag na yata, mukhang pwede niya yatang magluluwag. Kailan ba magluluwag? Alam ko na magluluwag.
Tanggal na ata yung mask regulation last week pa po.
Wala nang mask regulation.
Mask regulation. Pero marami pa rin nagmamask so that's very
sa groceries ba? Sa supermarkets, nagmamask? Ako nagmamask pa eh.
Nagmamask ako minsan pag feeling ko medyo maraming tao. Nagmamask ako. Pero pag wala na, natutuwa din ako na natanggal na kasi hirap ako huminga.
Okay. Tama. Mas beneficial si attorney, di ba? Parang it's a hassle, no? A really complete hassle. Okay, well, I guess it's time for us to say goodbye. Yes, that's true. Ano to? May comments yan. Yes, that's true. Anong message yan? Direct, asa yung message yan? Na-flash mo na ba yan? Hindi pa. Yes, that's true. 1,000 Seamaster Pierce Brosnan era nung binili now nearly 2,000 na like okay. Nag-appreciate now. Tama. Okay.
Appreciating
sabi ni attorney.
Talaga siya.
Okay, good. Okay, well, I guess it's time for us to siguro okay na yan muna. Siguro yan ang ating last na pag-comment sa atin, no? So thanks Edgar for sharing that, no? Tama 'yung sinasabi ni attorney na may mga nag-appreciate na mga relo lalo nitong Seamaster na to, no? Okay. Edgardo Cagasyan, 3 days in office, 2 days at home. Hybrid.
Ingat sa pagka-travel, Edgardo.
Ingat. Okay. Well, okay. Attorney, baka may nais kang idagdag pa. Baka may biglang nag-flash sa mind mo, no? Na hindi mo naibanggit do sa topic natin tonight. Or, you wanna let them know how to get in touch with you in case, no? Meron silang gustong isangguni, sa'yo, no? Go right ahead, please.
Yes, you can contact me at d.quinto@tvsolicitors.com or 0123-4225-188 if you want to ask about your case. Kung ito man ay masyadong public setting, if you want to ask privately, we do free 30-minute consultation. Email lang po or tawag kung hindi nag-go through yung tawag minsan, nasa office, nasa meeting, just email me and then we can organize a time to have a call. So sa lahat ng mga kababayan natin, hopefully this is useful for you at sana po ay maging way to para mabawasan yung inyong problema, mabawasan yung anxiety nyo about it's a very stressful event in anyone's life. So sana useful. And for everyone else, maraming salamat po sa pagsusubaybay dito sa ating social remote bubble na palaki ng hopefully pwede na nating i-pierce next time magkita-kita na po tayo this year when the weather gets better. To Direk Pao, thank you Direk Pao, as always. You're very, very helpful. And sa ating legendary Laragan, pagwapo ng pagwapo, paslim na paslim at talaga namang
umiislim ba ako, attorney?
Oh, yes, you're looking
really?
slimmer in cheek.
Okay.
At, ikaw ikaw yung original inspiration this year for healthier living. Samahan niyo po kami. We talk about everything else at the start of the show: food, health, kuro-kuro, news, current affairs. So parang lang to, tambayan nating mga ka-social remote bubble, and we talk about a certain topic each week to help you deal with your legal issues in the UK. So balik lang po, tuloy lang po kayo dito. We'll see you next week again. Tuesday, 6 p.m.
Okay, well, tama yung sinabi ni attorney, no? Sundan nyo rin yung mga previous episodes because there's a lot of information from those, no? Week in, week out, merong topic na dinidiscuss si attorney, parang nang sa ganun ay magabayan tayo sa ating mga mga bagay-bagay na kamukha ngayon may about divorce, no? So yung mga things about valuation and so on and so forth, may alam ho kayo. Balikan ho ninyo, no? If you are a late tuner, people who may have tuned in just now, well, patapos na ho tayo. Ito po yung Legal Advice Corner.
Kala ko papagalitan mo sila.
Hindi, manood na kayo ulit na mas maaga-aga, no? Pero siyempre, minsan kasi baka biglang, nakahabol ko kay Attorney Danna, at kay SONNY, no? Kailangan mapanood yun. Pero I'm sure, pwede naman yung balikan, no? So siyempre, Attorney, maraming salamat sa iyo, as always, no? With the information that you give out. Dagdag kaalaman sa atin to, and it's nice because pandemic, diba? Nasa bahay-bahay, and yet, we will learn something, no, from maski paano there are things that we get, may take away tayo sa ating dito sa dinidiscuss mo, no? At ngayon meron akong yung jargon buster natin natutunan ko yung word na, di ba, meron kang mga sinasabi ng mga FMH. Ano ba yung FMH yan? Former family home, di ba? Ano ba dyan yung MRF? O ganyan, no? So, yun, yung mga CETV, no? So,
Yung CETV, that's very good. That's very good.
Di ba? Kung medyo maganda trabaho ng misis mo, mister mo, kasi nasa NHS, gusto mo habulin yung pension din, pwede mo habulin, parang gano'n, di ba? So, mga CETV, it takes a while yata, dahil isusulat pa yan doon sa pension.
Takes a while, yeah. Takes a while to get that.
It takes a while, the valuation of pension. Okay, well, I guess, attorney, that's it for us tonight, no? So, mga kaibigan, thank you very much, no? Sa ngalan ni attorney, Danna Quinto, ni Direk Pao, no? Ito po si Sanning Laragan ang nagsasabing thank you very much so sa inyong walang sawang pagsubaybay dito sa ating programang Legal Advice Corner every Tuesday evening, no? So let's do it again. So till then, take care, God bless, and good night. Bye.
Good night.
Good night, good night.
Bangon na niluluto mo Paborito mo yan.
Sa World Remit, naiintindihan namin ang iyong paglalakbay. Na minsan, kailangan lumayo upang makamit ang tagumpay. With ways to save more, when you send more, World Remit is here for you, so you can be there for them.